Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. Today we are having Stacey Roshan again, our famous math teacher from Potomac, Maryland. Welcome, Stacey. We're glad to see you. And then we have Adam and George from Flipgrid joining us as well. So they're there. You can see them. They look pretty happy today, so that's good. We'll get started in a few minutes. We're going to let the room fill up, and then we'll let Stacey take it away. And just give us a few more minutes and we'll get started. So hang in there and we'll be right back.
Fabulous. We're so, on behalf of George and myself, we're so honored to join you today, Stacey, and all our friends over at Wacom. This is awesome. We're huge, we're huge fans of all the above. And so truly an honor and a privilege to be here today. And to everyone joining us, as an attendee, whether you're an educator, an IT admin, faculty, staff, student, whatever, we're excited to chat and learn with you. And so I think, are we able to? Yeah. So we'll be following along. And
to add to that, like what we discuss here and the conversation we have doesn't have to stop here. We'll share our socials at the end of it, but the discussion never stops. So if you have questions or thoughts or anything that we can do to help out, feel free to reach us even after this broadcast.
Okay, perfect, guys. So I think the room's filled up enough. We have quite a few people here. So great. Welcome, Stacey. Stacey, if you don't know, is a teacher at the Bullis School in Potomac, Maryland. And she's also Director of Innovation and Educational Technology. We've known Stacey for years, and she's fabulous. And just a few housekeeping items before we get started. My name is Doug. I'll be tracking your questions in the Q&A. If you do have questions, please put them in the Q&A and I can relay them to Stacey, Adam, or George. That way they don't need to look down and not concentrate on that kind of stuff. I can do it. The chat, don't put your questions in chat. Please put them in Q&A. It's just easier for us. Wacom, as you know, has been around for a long time. We've been making interactive pen displays and pen tablets for years, and they're highly valuable in education, and that's what Stacey's going to be touching on today. So that's great. This is also recorded, so if you want to check out the webinar on YouTube later on, you're welcome to do that, so it'll be archived there. And here's Stacey's contact information on the screen right now. She's pretty active on Twitter, and you can always ask her math questions. I mean, we ask her math questions all the time. So I wish we had her as a math teacher back when we were kids. Anyhow, so there you go. We also have some specials running this week for those teachers out there that aren't familiar with Wacom gear. Stacey will be explaining some of the things she uses. And we do have some specials at Best Buy and B&H in New York City. So without any further ado, Stacey, take it away and tell us all about Wacom and Flipgrid. Here we go.
Hi, oh my gosh, I'm seeing you guys in the chat, some of you that I know. So good to see you here or see you in the chat. Thanks for popping in and saying hi and joining us today. So we are going to talk about the power of the, I'm using the Wacom 1, so you can see I have it mirrored right here. It's like a double of us. So we're gonna look at the Wacom 1, but you could use any Wacom device, but really concentrating on the power of the pen and combining that with a tool like Flipgrid, because I think that so often you get powerful tools like a Wacom tablet and you just don't know where to start because it's this great pen, but like what program do I use? And how do I deliver things to my students in a really easy way? And to me, what's so powerful about Flipgrid is that it eliminates that need to like pass back and forth these massive files. Like video files are huge, can take time to upload it. How do we really quickly respond to student needs and make it, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be super fancy, but addressing that need. And so that's what I'm gonna get into today. And I'm so excited to have Adam and George from Flipgrid join today. So do you guys want to do a little intro and I'll do the screen share, I'll get the screen share set up.
Yeah, sure thing. I guess, am I up or down to Adam? Yeah, my name is George. I work on the Flipgrid engagement team for our team Flipgrid. We're based out of Minneapolis. I'll let Adam tell what he does, but we get to engage with the community every single day. So things like this, just listening to your ideas, your feedback, and the ways that you use technology in general to really amplify the voices of your students.
I mean, yes, I echo all of that. My name is Adam. I'm also in Minneapolis, as George mentioned. Tuning in from my apartment today. And we do all sorts of things. And so kind of our primary role as the engagement team at Flipgrid is to work with all of you. I have the privilege of hearing your amazing ideas and work with educators like Stacey to say, hey, look at these cool things we're doing within Flipgrid. You know, taking that, how could I transform my lessons, or what kind of things could I do with Flipgrid? And likewise, all the time we build with all of you. And so, for example, I know Stacey's reached out a number of times and said, hey, I want to be able to do this in Flipgrid, or hey, why can't Flipgrid do this? And we love that. And so it's George and mine's role, along with our fellow teammates, to take all of this feedback and then work with our developers to build a better experience.
Absolutely. They bring the magic to life for us. We have ideas, and I couldn't do it without tools like Flipgrid and my Wacom tablet. And that's what I want to share with you today, just how it's really transformed my classroom and what I've been able to do. So I'm going to start with a screen share and let's dig in and see. Okay. So let me go back to my presentation here. So my socials were already shared, but if you are on Twitter, oops, sorry. If you are on Twitter, I would love for you to tweet with me. I'm at BuddyXO on Twitter, and that is the easiest way for me to communicate. Any questions that you have, anything like that, please reach out to me anytime on Twitter, and I'm happy to answer that. So I'm just gonna start with a quick little background here. So this is me when I first started flipping my classroom, and what I was using here was a tablet PC. We actually had tablet PCs at my school. That was what we were offered. And that to me was the beginning. I was like, oh, I can write on my screen. I can make these screencasts. I can offload the very teacher directed part of my lecture for students to do for homework. And then in the class, it could become much more engaging and much more about my students and what we were doing together during that class time. And so this is the beginning for me, but I am a Mac user. I love my Mac, and so I was actually using two different machines at this time. I was using my tablet PC to kind of create lessons, and then I needed to convert everything over to my Mac to like edit and stuff like that. The workflow was not what I wanted to have. It was just a lot of extra steps. And so then I discovered the Wacom tablet, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I was able to plug it into my Mac. This is some examples. My students actually all have a little Wacom Intuos. And then I have, this is an older picture of, but now I have the Wacom One, and that's a display style tablet. So there are the two different tablets. If you're not familiar with it, there is the type where it is the blank kind of slate style, where it's like a giant mouse pad and you're looking up at the screen and you're writing. And so my students use that in the classroom and they get used to it rather quickly. And then there's the type where you have the second display, which can be super powerful. Also right now in a time of remote learning, we know that having a second display can be huge. So I just wanted to share that. And I wanted to get into a couple of like little Flipgrid highlights, but before that, we're gonna do a quick poll with you to see how, if you have used Flipgrid before and if you have a Wacom tablet. So if you could just let us know, have you used Flipgrid before? Can we see the answers on that one? All right, so we're at like 50-50 here. I will make sure to explain a little bit more about Flipgrid in a moment. And then I think we have one more poll question for you. Do you have a Wacom device that you're currently using? And if you do, let us know which one.
And just to speak a little bit on that first question, for those of you who are new to Flipgrid, welcome. You are in great hands. Stacey, correct me if I'm wrong, like you used Flipgrid shortly after, like even before Flipgrid was a thing, Stacey had found Flipgrid, has been, telling us how to use Flipgrid on behalf of the whole Flipgrid team from the very beginning of Flipgrid. So you were in for a treat, and likewise, George, myself, and our whole team is here to support you. So I'm super excited. We love hearing or seeing when people are new to Flipgrid.
Thank you. Yeah, I happened upon Flipgrid because actually I was teaching this online course to teachers about how to do blended and flipped learning. And at the time, I had a course from somebody else who was teaching it, and we were using VoiceThread, and it was great, except that we were having a lot of problems like getting everybody on and getting signed up. And so I was like, there needs to be something else out there. And Flipgrid was kind of in its infancy back then. And, you could create without students having to have an account, which is part of the huge power of Flipgrid. And so it was a perfect thing for us, and we started using it. And then, yeah, now Flipgrid's really taken off. So yeah, it's a great story, Flipgrid story. All right, so let's dig into a little bit of Flipgrid. I'm gonna show you a couple of examples here of some projects that our students have done at my school for a variety of different subjects. You'll hear me talk a lot about math because I'm a math teacher, but I'm gonna start off by showing you some projects of success, and then we'll dig into more of how we can use the pen tool with it. So here's one example of students just talking about books that they love, and we also had faculty join in on this. And so I'm gonna just play one student.
Hi, I'm Darren Asay from the class of 2027. Do you like action, adventure, and funny stories? Then I've got the book for you, How to Be a Supervillain by Michael Fry. Do you ever wonder what it's like to be a supervillain? Victor's parents are evil supervillains.
So what is Flipgrid? It is a video discussion platform. In this way, you saw that this student just had a picture and was just doing a voiceover. I'm going to show you another one where it is a student actually using their camera and talking to us. And you can see them talking to us, but this is for a library project of students kind of sharing books they love. And students can also reply to one another through this. So it is a threaded video discussion platform. And so let me show you a couple more projects just to see what is possible. This is done in another English class where the student was tasked with talking back to a character they were reading, Huck Finn.
Oh, hey, Huck. Glad to see you there. We need to talk about this morality dilemma you have going on here. It's really not even much of a dilemma because I know that you know what the right thing to do is. You think that it's your fault somehow that Jim is escaping.
And I'm going to show one last math example here of how some of my students in my AP Calculus class actually just talk out their math solution so we can really get at process how they're thinking through the math.
So I did number 23 in 3.3 and then just asked to find the equation of the tangent line to the curve at a certain point. So this is the equation that they gave, and this is the point. The first thing that I did was find the derivative of this equation, and we can see that it's a product rule because of 2x times the sine of x. So When doing the product rule, it's always important to remember that the product rule means.
So in this example, pretty low tech. Students are just using their phone. They're hovering their phone camera over the math problem that they had worked, and they're just pointing to their steps in the problem, step by step by step. And so we don't need to make this super fancy, but the power in it is allowing students to express their work. And I do think that handwriting is very important. As a math teacher, I need to be able to write and talk through what I'm writing. And so that's part of what I want to just share with you today. I think there's tremendous power in that. And so to me, you know, typing math, it never really works. I can't type a math equation and think and type at the same time. It's just not how my brain processes. I really need to be handwriting. And so when I have a Wacom device that I can plug in, I can do all of that, especially as the teacher. It's very important to me. So those are some highlights that I wanted to first start with so you could see what it's like. And, you know, there's a lot of power in allowing students to record at home versus just hearing from them in the classroom. Even, you know, beyond what the situation we're in right now where some schools are completely remote, but just in a normal setting, it's so tremendously powerful to give students, like the one that you had seen with the talkback assignment, this student's voice was really able to come alive because they were able to record at home, and maybe they scripted it ahead of time, or maybe they just had a chance to reply and then watch over their video before they decided to post that, or maybe they just felt more comfortable at home when they weren't surrounded by a bunch of different people. And I think it's so important to give students these opportunities to express their voice in all different types of platforms. And so I really appreciate having Flipgrid as a way for students to communicate to me, communicate what they need, communicate what they're thinking, and just do some general check-ins with them also. So I do a lot with students, but also I use it as an instructional tool. So I'm going to start with exploring how we can use Flipgrid as more of the instructional tool. And if you have used Flipgrid before, you might not have seen this view with like these effects. This might look a little bit different. Flipgrid just released in this month a whole new camera experience that is so powerful. There's so many ways to use it, and it is even more powerful now with the whiteboarding tools that they have and the pen tools. So this is so exciting to me. Now I want to start with something very simple, which is there's a screen recorder built right in to Flipgrid. It does have a maximum of 10 minutes, but let me show you how that works. So some of you might already have an application of choice. For example, I really like using Notability. So I use Notability. I use a Mac. I use Notability. If you're on a PC, then I think that OneNote is one of the best things to use, but I'll just tell you. So I use Notability. I use the Mac app, which is actually different than the iPad app if you've used that before. So it is on the Mac. And then I really recommend OneNote on a PC. If you have something that you already use and love, if you have smart software on your computer, you can use that too. Go over to Flipgrid and let's take a look at how I get started. So when I log into Flipgrid, you would log in as an educator. You log in with your Google or your Microsoft account. It is free. Everything that I'm showing you today is free. All the features of Flipgrid are free all the time. So thanks, Team Flipgrid. So if you log in, by default, you'll get in and you'll see this screen, which allows you to add topics. So those topics are those prompts like I was just showing you before in some of those examples. So I can create kind of a topic like this. I can ask a prompt in here. Please respond to this question. And then students can log in and they can just press this record button and they can record their response. They'll sign in with their Google or their Microsoft account, depending on how your school is set up. And then, boom, here we go. So I would be able to talk right to my screen, and students can press a record button and they can start recording their response. So that's kind of just the quick and easy of how to get started. Now, I want to show, for the beginning, how I can use this as more of like an instructional. I need to make a little mini lesson, a little mini flipped lesson, for example. How can I do this really easily? So there's also this thing called shorts when you're in here. And the difference between the shorts and what I just showed you is shorts is really just a little short video that I create as a teacher. It's not a threaded discussion anymore. And I can just copy this link and share it with students for them to watch the video. So again, just starting with the simple of how do I create a quick instructional video for my students. So what I'm going to show you first, you can see that you have 10 minutes to record. That is the maximum that you have. If you go over to this options, you can actually just record your screen. So you can record your screen right here. And when I start recording my screen, I'm going to share my whole screen. You can see that it actually does a picture-in-picture. So students can see your picture, and I could have like my favorite app of choice. Here we go. And I can start solving an equation. Just like this. I don't know what I want to do.
Hey, Stacey, while you're chatting there, we have a teacher that does have a Wacom 1, and when using OneNote on a Mac, they have been having trouble accessing and keeping the eraser tool active.
Actually does a picture-in-picture, so students can see your picture. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know the particular answer to your question. I have used OneNote on my Mac a bit, but I really have started using Notability as my application of choice. So I don't know the answer to your question, why that pen tool would be disappearing. Maybe you just need to uninstall it and reinstall it. Got it. Sorry to interrupt you. No, please feel free to jump in. Yeah. Anybody, feel free to jump in at any time. So I just stopped that recording just by pressing that stop screen share, and you can see that, and I could have like my favorite app of choice. Here we go. Actually does a picture-in-picture, so students can see your picture. And so you can see here that while you're chatting there, that's my quick little video, and I could just create that. Even, you know, like that beginning of the clip, right? It was like me getting my screen set up. I wasn't ready to record. I can even pull that over just like that, and I can delete the trim kind of the clip, if you want to think of it as trimming the clip. Super easy. Confirm, move to the next step. Say that, you know what? That was good, but I forgot to add a little something. I even have the ability to add more here. So, you know, it's like not a robust editor, but it has editing ability right here. So let me add more and show you something else that you can do. So when I add more, I can choose, do I want to do another screen recording? Or maybe what I forgot was to say hi to my class, and I just want to do a little introduction. So let me do that right now. Hi class, I hope you're doing really well today. And let's dive into this lesson. Great. Can we go to the next? And so one more thing that I can do in here is that was really supposed to go at the beginning. So let's drag it and drop it. And so now I have things in the right order. I have my introduction. I have my little video clip to show the class, just solve that one problem. Now I'm ready. Next. Got to take your selfie. Next. Boom. And it uploads your video that quickly. So there's not, this is what I love about it. There's not like, okay, I need to record my video and then I need to upload it to Google Drive, or I need to upload it to YouTube in order for students to be able to see it. And then from there, I need to upload that, you know, to my learning management system. Here, all I do is I record do tiny little trimming and editing right in Flipgrid. And then I have the share link. When I click on the video, you're gonna get this share link right here, and you can just paste it on your learning management system. If you are using Google Classroom, you can share right to Google Classroom here or to Microsoft Teams if your school uses those platforms. So super easy to create a quick little screen share. Adam and George, I'm gonna ask you, is there anything you wanna add about screen shares?
Well, I just want to elaborate, like what Stacey shared was so wonderful. Like, again, like I feel like George will echo this, that like every time we watch an educator, you know, experience Flipgrid, like we learn something ourselves, and like that like ability to record your intro after the fact and then just quickly rearrange is so convenient. And to what Stacey was saying, just like Flipgrid is all about, you know, short, to the point. It's all about the content and not about this creating, you know, this lavish, you know, cinematic production. Like it's not creating these compelling, you know, special effects and all these like weird things on your video. It's all about the content and just trying to make a really simple and powerful way for you to connect with your students and share what you want to share. And so as you're writing out those equations, you know, maybe there's a couple extra tabs showing up in the screen or something, but you can kind of format to your liking. But the whole point of shorts in particular is to be quick and short.
Absolutely. I would just build on that. I love that, especially Stacey, you showing like it's so like personalized learning. Like you're able to work through a problem with them, show the example, show that instruction, which I really love about just the screen recorder in general, because it does put you in the same level as like your kind of learning community to be able to learn with them, as well as giving them the opportunity to just hear from every single one of them. Especially in a remote learning environment, you're not able to have that one-to-one relationship, but at least in this, you can hear from every single student, and then you know they can hear from their peers as well. So in the discussion tab, I don't know if we're going to go over this, so I don't mean to jump ahead, but this shorts camera is built into the Flipgrid like topic itself. So if you wanted to create a topic, you can make this focus the same shorts video that we have here, and then you could have your students respond via video to that lesson or that instruction. So you have it all housed in one location. So I love that. So brilliant.
Like to what George is saying is all of these features Stacey just showed you are also features that your students can access when they're recording videos. So, and all free. So all free everywhere. You know, as she mentioned, if they have, you know, mobile device, an iPhone and Android, they can download the app. Otherwise, any computer with a webcam and all the features that we just showed up. That's Stacey, not we, but Stacey so eloquently just flaunted. So good.
Thank you. Yeah, so yes, we do need to get into how students can respond to this, and we will get into that also. So everything that I'm showing you absolutely is not just like Educator I can create. This is everybody can create, and everybody has the same experience. So absolutely, thank you for bringing that up now. It's the power. It's the power of it.
Hey, Stacey, I have a question for you from a teacher. Which Wacom device is best for an educator who records a ton of tutorials and live presentations? Is there a big difference? So talk to the audience a little bit about our pen tablets versus our pen displays.
Yeah, okay. So I will tell you, I have, honestly, I've used both. This Wacom One is pretty much my favorite thing that I have used because it serves multiple purposes. So it is a great size here. It's, I think, 13 inches, right? So it's a nice size. So if you haven't used a Wacom device before, these things are built to last. So Doug, who is our moderator here, can speak better than I can about how he has devices that have lasted him for like decades. For me, I got my first Wacom device in 2013, and that thing is still running. I actually, that classroom set that I told you I had of Wacom devices, I got in 2013. I use it in the classroom, like hand out to students every day. That same class set is still going strong. So, you know, the power of this is that you invest in one of these, and it's not like an iPad where after several years, you know, the operating system gets older, or like, you know, you have so many updates in the operating system and it can't keep up any longer. These things are just sturdy, and also you plug it into your computer. So that's the power of it. I can use all the applications that I love on my Mac, right, and I have a second screen. Now, the benefit of having the Wacom One, so as a teacher who flips my classroom and who also makes a ton of instructional video, I absolutely say that having the display style tablet is worth the extra cost. I love being able to see where I'm writing on the screen. It's just natural. It feels great. It feels like I'm writing on a piece of paper, and it's a great solution for me. In my classroom, though, we do use the Intuo style tablet, which is the one where you do not have the display. And there's some learning curve to that because you have to think about where you're writing and you have to look up at your monitor to see where you're writing on the page. But sometimes, I will tell you, sometimes I actually use that one in the classroom because it's portable. And there's a Bluetooth version of that, so you can work wirelessly. So that would be two things that I would heavily consider as you're making your decision. If it is important to you to be able to work wirelessly, the Wacom One, as you can see right here, it is plugged. And so I have to plug it into my computer, and I'm plugging it into an outlet in the wall. So it needs to be plugged. It's not something that I can carry around the room. If that is very important, that you are able to be portable and carry something around the room, then you should really look into the Intuos tablet. If you're making a ton of videos and you just want something that's comfortable, like when I'm making my Flip Classroom videos, I have a microphone plugged in and I have this thing plugged in, not a big deal. And that's what I use and prefer. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, perfect. She just said thank you to you in the chat. So yes.
Great.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to show you one more feature of the camera. I'm going to still stick on the Flipgrid shorts right now. Again, remember that all these features are also available for students to do. So when I record a video, if you don't want to make a screencast like I just did a screen recording, then look at this. So ready? Here's the effects, and I have this drawing tool. So here's the pen. I can change the thickness of my pen. If I'm looking down, it's just because I'm writing on my Wacom device here. And I can write on the screen like this. I could point something out if I have, I want to do that. But ready for it? Let's go back. If I click on this board, you have all different boards now. Thank you. Graph paper and a grid style and lined paper. So I can write directly on my screen like this. Let me go back to the pen tool, drawing, and let's write a couple things. Now I'm gonna be like 100% honest in everything that I say to you guys today. Writing in this is excellent, but it's not as good as my handwriting in Notability. So I know some people have asked me that question before too. It's just a little bit slower usually when I'm writing directly in the Flipgrid camera. So if you're making like a full on 10-minute screencast, I would say use the screen recording tool and use that app that you're already using. But you want something quick and easy to send back to students, this is the go-to way to do it. So let me show you one other power feature, and this is all brand new. If I go back to my board, I was writing on this, but maybe you want students to see your face too. Split screen, move it over, and I can, pull in, and so you can see my face, and I can be writing at the same time. So if I press the record button, because right now I was like setting my scene. If you press the record button, let's start problem solving. So I can go back, pull up a pen, pull up a different color pen. So let's solve this problem today. So let's go back to this x squared. What did I have before? Plus 5x plus 6 equals 0 that I never solved. So see, you can see like I was writing too fast right now. And so you just have to be a little bit slower when you're writing, especially when you're using like the display the second display. That's been the only like hiccup that I've run into. So I shouldn't have written so fast, but I can always go back, fix that guy. There, like that. I think what's so powerful here is the ability to both write and talk at the same time. So I know that some people kind of set the scene and kind of like write out all the stuff ahead of time and then they make their video off of that. For me, and I have asked my students this, I've made both types of videos, and we've talked about this a number of times. They really prefer when I'm writing and talking at the same time, because they can see as I'm working that I'm thinking and how I'm thinking through the problem, and it also makes it more real as I'm presenting that problem to them. So I really think that it's powerful to be able to write and talk at the same time and solve this. And so say with me, all right, let's go ahead and let's factor this down and so forth. So let me just show you what I did again. Go back. Oops, let me just redo this. So again, what I did was when I got in here, I didn't see this, right? Let me just start from scratch again. Record. That's really what I want to do. I go back to effects and I have the drawing tool, but I'm going to start with creating a board. Pull in a board. Maybe I want the dot grid this time. Maybe split my screen so that you can see me and that you can see the board right there. And then I can go ahead and use the drawing tool. So normally what I like to do is I think about setting the scene first. And by setting the scene, I set it up. I usually would write the problem in here that I want to solve. And then when I've set it all up and I'm ready to start recording, then I press the record button and I get going and I just talk and I write. And if you need to pause at any point, because maybe you need to think or you need something, that pause button is also available. All right, class, let's go ahead and solve this problem together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor. So I could pause if I need to at any point. Maybe I want to get my pen back ready. So that's a very quick overview of how this works. You can see how immediate and quick it is. Now, the last thing that I want to show before I get out of this camera is back to effects. So maybe you have like a worksheet or you have a slide that you had already made that you want to build off of. So let's go ahead and say, all right, I had this slide here and I want this to be the focus of my little short video. I can take a screenshot. So I'm on a Mac. I just pressed Command-Shift-4 and let's pull that in. Screenshot. So if I go back to photo, I can add a sticker, and the sticker is just a screenshot in this case. Let's pull that in. I can resize it and move it. And then when I'm ready, I can go back to my effects. I can go back to my drawing tool, and I'm not going to record again right now. I'm just showing you. But I can point, I can circle, I could highlight. This could be a way of pulling in a graph or just the problem that you've already laid out, like a word problem or something. So you have it already there, and then you can handwrite. So that's one of my favorite things, for certain, for sure.
And yeah, real quick, I loved how you showed the power of like the pause play, Stacey, because that's a great element of like, especially students when they're like, you know, trying to collect their thoughts because they're trying to say so much, let's say in a 2-minute span, they forget it, they can pause, collect their thoughts, and then play it again and start recording without like missing a beat. And it's like all stitched together in that same circumstance. So I love that.
Yeah. Anything else?
We did have one other question from a viewer.
Yeah.
Stacey, can you show an example? I'm trying to decipher their note here. Stacey, can you show an example if putting a comment and then the student's next comment, like a thread that finds the roots of a quadratic? I don't really understand their question, but I think they're trying to say, or trying to ask if a student can comment on your stuff.
let's dig into that. Let's go there. All right, so that's enough of our shorts camera for now. But this is gonna be, you're gonna see it's the same experience. I wanted to start with the simplest. Where did my back button go? Come on. I'm gonna go back, like we are logging back in. Okay, so we were on the shorts tab, and now let's dig into your question. How do students respond to this? So what I can do, instead of just creating the instructional video, let's make it so that I'm creating some instruction, but then students are gonna reply to me on this. So in this case, I'm gonna add a topic. And here, I would add a title. So solve sample problem, and then whatever the prompt is, you put it there. And then you choose how long you want students to have to reply to this. So this is a recording time for students to respond. Now, just be mindful, this is something I've been talking a lot about with teachers, you know, as we're getting ready for back to school. If you choose 10 minutes, some students may choose to reply for 10 whole minutes. Do you have 10 minutes times 70 students, or however many students you may have more, to listen to? I think it is so important to whatever replies have been posted to Flipgrid for us to take the time to listen to them. And I'll also show you how you can give feedback directly in Flipgrid to students. So be mindful of how long you're giving them for their response. So I tend not to ever do 10 minutes. It's just not really doable for most things. 3 minutes has been good for me. Now in this, when you are creating, so I'm creating the prompt right now, I can record a video. So this is how I could record my instructional video right here. Let me just do a little example. Hi class, so we are about to dig into this problem and you are going to tell me how you solved it. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening to my camera with the yellow. Whoa, let's go, pause it. Let's bring up the board. Here we go. And then I'm gonna go back to the drawing tool and I'm gonna just put out that same problem. So it's my problem of the day, clearly. So you can see here that my handwriting was a lot clearer, and this is probably, I'm just, again, like trying to be full disclosure here. I have too many videos going on at this time. I have the Zoom going on with all that happening. I have this thing plugged in. I have a base model of a MacBook Air that I'm using right now that does not have the fastest processing speed. So if you see some delays in what I'm doing today, it is because I'm like on this Wacom webinar and I have the Flipgrid and I had the video, like double video going on. So anyway, just want to share.
What she's saying is she is a superhero. You're amazing. All is good. And I'm hopeful that we'll solve this equation because I keep trying, this is like calling back to my high school days and I'm hung up on like how to do this.
So we should just do it right now.
Can we do it please? I'm already what you've set up is not what I was thinking I was supposed to do. So I'm learning math.
Adam's gonna help me solve this problem right now. So we're gonna do it together. Oh, and he mutes his mic right now.
Okay, no, I'm into it. Well, so Stacey, I was gonna subtract 6 right away, but I saw you were gonna go for the brackets.
I was gonna go for the brackets because I'm not gonna explain the whole thing right now, but.
Okay, yeah, we're not doing that. But yes, let's do that.
After this.
We'll set up tutoring for another session.
But this is a great way to actually do tutoring. It's so powerful, such a powerful way to do tutoring. So and they just ask that question. To email this back is gonna be really hard. Instead, I just make a quick little video, and this is how we do things. All right, so we're gonna factor. So if I start with this X and this X, is this coming back to you now?
Yes.
So what are the 2 things multiplied that are gonna make your 6?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. Can we either add them or subtract them or combine that to make a 5 when we're combining the outer and the inner?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with pluses. All right, nice job. All right, we won't finish, to solve it, we have to set each of the factors equal to 0. There we go. Is it all coming back to you now?
Yes. This is, I love math. And this is like, that was one of my favorite classes. And so this is very refreshing.
It's just the opposite for me. It brings back nightmares and crying at my desk.
Oh no.
That's because you got stuck at home. Honestly, this is because you got stuck at home and nobody could help you. But now we have technology that we can help you. So you get stuck at home and it doesn't feel hopeless. It's like you probably just needed a little something like this. If I could have sent this home to you, you would have probably gotten yourself unstuck.
Totally.
So,
I grew up in the wrong generation. Absolutely.
So there we go. I recorded that. You saw me recording and talking at the same time. So now if I press the next button. Hi class. So we are you'll see all of that happening here. And you'll see me actually responding and talking and writing at the same time. So I'm going to press the next button. And then take my picture. Oh, that was a terrible picture. Sorry.
That's great. It's great.
We'll go to next. So now it's uploading my video. And this time it just uploaded it to the topic. So here's the difference. Also, just so you know, if you're at a school, you can set it to private, so just people within your school domain can view this, and I know that's very important for student privacy. So that is a feature. So now, when I have students go to this topic link, here's what it's going to look like. It's going to look different than what I just showed you. Students are going to, again, they have to log in because I set that up for the privacy settings. And now they can look at my topic, they can see my video. Hi class, so they're gonna watch that. I'm gonna give them a prompt to solve, and then when they're ready to reply back to me, they're going to respond. And they can record their reply. Hi, Mr. Roshan, you did an excellent job solving that problem. Thank you, Adam, for joining in and helping explain that. It was excellent. I'm good to go now. All right. I really need to fix my camera. Hi, Mr. Roshan. All right. So let's take a picture. In the middle of me talking. Come on. There's just a delay. It's like literally just my computer. So I'm going to submit that so that you can see that now when students go to view, they're going to see my instructions. They're going to see any of their peers who have responded. And as the teacher, when I log in, I get some more controls. I can, if there was an inappropriate response, for example, I can hide that. And when I watch a student's video, I might want to reply back to them directly without the whole class seeing that. And there's this feedback tab where I can record a video that you can see it goes privately to them. I think that's very powerful. There's also a grading rubric. You can set up and customize this grading rubric by pressing the edit based on your needs, and then you just grade right here. And then you can also leave just a little text comment. And you can just type a comment to the student, and then I always use the email feedback. It goes back to a student's email. I will say something that I think is very important as a teacher is whenever I do these types of activities and I email the feedback, I take a moment the next day in class to make sure that students received that feedback and they have a moment to either read or listen to that feedback, because students get a lot of work, and to expect that they are watching all the feedback on top of new homework you've given them and the new homework they have for all their other classes is a lot. And so I think that's just something that I always like to remind people of, to maybe bake that into class the next day as a flow. So that's it. And then students can all see one another. There are ways to keep it private, but I'm just going to keep it simple right now. And that is my recommendation for how to post kind of a little video and then have students create a response. And if you want to do something like I showed you at the beginning where my students kind of talked about a math solution, I have them do that with their phone. They take their phone, they hover it over their piece of paper. There's an app for Flipgrid. So if they have a phone, Flipgrid app, open it up, hover over the piece of paper, and just knock out whatever math they're doing. So I'm going to pause for a second. I see that there's some more questions coming in. So.
Yep, here's a question for the Flipgrid guys. Maybe if you design a rubric, is it saved and able to be used on different discussions or assignments?
Yes, George, do you want to? The answer is yes.
George, exactly. Yes. Yeah, no, so when you make those custom rubrics that you do, those will save it within your Educator admin, so you can go back to those. So if you have different lessons for different grades or different subjects, you can have those saved, and then you can just basically check mark it, and then it'll include that rubric within that topic. So yeah, great question.
And moreover, you can export your feedback. So yeah, as you can see, Stacey has a bunch of custom feedback already scaffolded here, and so when she does that within editing a topic, she can choose to use that preset criteria that she's already set up or add new criteria. And then once you've gone through and added the feedback to all your students' videos, you can export all of that at the topic level, and then you'll get the rich scores and a bunch of other stuff, including, you know, the student's name, email, yada, 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 associated with their video.
And for the Flipgrid guys, how does one go about obtaining Flipgrid? What's the procedure?
George?
Okay, great question. So the Educator account, so like Stacey said, there's no student account. So as a student or participant, all you need is that join code, which you do here. But to create an Educator account, simply go to flipgrid.com. And that's like both the landing page for the student, because you'll see right in the top middle to enter the join code, or the Educator sign is the top right. And when you click on that right now, Stacey has single sign-on, I imagine, but like it'll be prompt to you your name, first name, last name, your email address, what you teach and subjects. And all that can be readjusted in the profile later, but essentially just to give you kind of like a head start, because one thing in Flipgrid, actually, if you want to show Stacey, is a discovery library. And this is a great place that you can look for new topics that we can create right now, or what other educators have created, including Stacey, across the planet of different like these subject matters that you can filter by math, social studies, whatever you might be teaching, as well as our exclusive partners that we have, like the Metropolitan Museum, Wonderopolis. But this is a great resource to just get the fresh new content in addition to what you already are creating for your class.
That's very cool. I didn't know you guys could do that. That's a really neat feature. So you can basically steal other people's lesson plans. Is that kind of it?
Yeah, I would say share. You share and collaborate on different lesson plans. I will say what's cool, especially in like kind of can see the amount of engagement that sparks. So if you look at one we see right here, like at the top, the engagement. So that 12 seconds, we see things that are, actually click on engagement real quick, Stacey. I think it'll filter by the most engaged topics. So here it's really cool to see just like, so that's engagement.
Stacey, go to yours.
Topic. What's that?
Stacey, one down, math review videos.
Oh my gosh, that's yours, yeah. And this is in math, yeah, for high school. So this is really, so we'll actually talk about Stacey's. So click on that topic real quick, Stacey, if you don't mind. So you can, what's great about this is you can see on the left what the students would see, the video that's attached to it, as well as Stacey's integration notes on the right. So this is what the teacher would see that will supplement this lesson to be as successful as possible. And then on top of it, you see that it's been used 27 times. So that'll represent 27 educators have used that topic in their class. And then the engagement is really cool because those topics have generated both the videos created equates to 3 days and 21 hours, like basically straight. So back to back to back to back to back videos of like students sharing their voice a part of this topic. So it's really cool to have kind of that ownership with it. But it's a great way to just like kind of like spark new ideas, take this topic that Stacey created as a foundation and then edit that to be their own.
Yeah, I love going to this discovery library to find ideas and kind of, and then you get to make it your own. So like, even if you took this video that, you know, like I had created, you just add it as a topic to your own. And as soon as you press that add topic, if you don't want my video, you want your own video, you just replace it. If you don't quite like my instructions, you liked the idea of it, but you want to tweak it a little bit, you just edit that. So it is that's so powerful. And what I'm loving right now is getting inspiration for kind of like the beginning of your class. You know, like thinking about the first 5 days of class and the first month of class, and just some of the inspiration in here is so wonderful. And you can like save them in your collection. So I've been thinking about some conversation starters here. I made a little folder for myself, if you want to think of it as a folder or a collection here. So yeah, it's a great way to get started, and feed off the creativity of everybody in the Flipgrid community. Awesome. Okay, we're running out of time, aren't we?
I haven't even checked the time. I've been so enthralled. Why could I? How could I? Jeez.
It's 3:57 already.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's so much more, and there's so much more to see. And so the Flipgrid team is incredibly connected on social media. You know, I use Twitter. Again, definitely message me on Twitter. I'm at BuddyXO. The Flipgrid team, there's also a hashtag Flipgrid for all. If you use Twitter, that you should look up, and you will get a lot of great ideas there. The Flipgrid community will help you out. If you have any questions about, you know, like which Wacom device is best for me, how should I use this? I just got one, and now what do I do? I mean, that's where my inbox is getting very like full right now. Is just, I got a Wacom device, but I don't know how to start. Please message me. I mean that genuinely. I will get back to you. I'm so happy to help. I know how hard it is to just get the workflow going, because honestly, once you get the workflow going, you're good. But starting that and understanding how to use these tools together is a lot. And you know, there's like so much momentum. You hear app smashing all the time, and I love the idea of it, but also it can get very overwhelming. And so I try and share things that are simple. And to me, Flipgrid is a one-stop shop, and I don't need to smash a bunch of things together, though it does integrate with a bunch of different sources. And I just say that as like, to get started, and this is kind of how I want to end. To get started, my recommendation is, if you have gotten a Wacom device, I would say start with, if the topics feel good to you, then start with that. But if that just feels like a lot, especially right now in the first month of school, when maybe the biggest thing that you need to do is send some video instruction home for students, so that class time or any synchronous time that you have can be more collaborative, can be more conversational, can be more about students talking to one another and hearing from one another instead of you doing all the talking. So if we can offload a little bit of video for students to watch, my recommendation is start it simple, go over to the Shorts camera, just do this, record a video, keep it very simple in choosing that board. Again, we saw that there's just the whiteboard there, there's just the blackboard, I didn't even show that one. There's also the graph paper and all that. Start with that. You have something to write on right now. You have your pen, write on this, you record, doesn't need to be perfect. You send the link to students. Also, when students get stuck on their homework and they're stuck on that factoring problem and they just don't know where to go, instead of replying to an email, I will tell you, I save myself a ton of time by creating these little video responses. It takes me a longer time to reply through email with all the math stuff than it would be for me to just talk out a quick math solution here, explain it, and then the other power of it is reuse, because one student asks you, you know that 5 other students are asking that same question. So I create my little Flipgrid shorts, and then I have my answer to all 5 different students, copy paste, and it's personalized. It's so personalized because I'm talking them through it, I'm talking to them, and I'm there. So it just feels, you know, that support is there in a different way than just a typed email back to the student. So when a student emails me all the time, what I do, I have, you don't see it in my shorts because I have a whole grid that is just my Q&A, and I just leave all my questions, the answers that I want to give back to students all there, and then I email it back to the student, the link, instead of typing my full answer. So let's do we have time for a little bit more Q&A?
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Hang on. Let me see if there are some more questions here. Let's see what we got. Just thanks, Doug. Appreciate you answering my question. So, yeah, so no, there are no questions sitting in the question box right now. So I think everybody is satisfied. If you do have some questions, pop them in real quick and I'll ask Stacey. If not, we'll let everybody go. I'll just start closing here. Thanks, George and Adam, for joining us. That was really nice of you to come on. You made it just in the nick of time, 1 minute to spare. That was great. And as always, Stacey, thanks so much for joining us. We all wish we had you as a math teacher. And oh well, can't relive life. But anyhow, thanks.
I have a YouTube channel. You can check out all my math content on YouTube.
There you go. I might have to do that. But anyhow, speaking of YouTube, you can catch this webinar on Wacom's YouTube channel. And this has been a pretty good one. So I'll probably do a blog post about it. So watch out for that in the next couple of days. That way we can get more information on Flipgrid and Wacom out to the public. And hang on, there might be one more question, Stacey. Just a second. Oh, is that a book from Stacey that you can order? Yes, Stacey's book, Tech with Heart. I believe it's available on Amazon, right, Stacey?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and it's a great book, by the way. I've read it, and it's fabulous. She has all sorts of great comments in there and ideas. And, you know, Stacey is definitely a pioneer in the world of flipped classroom. So she's kind of setting a new standard for teaching. So we love to see what Stacey's up to pretty much on a weekly basis, because she's always doing something new. So it's great to see.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's fabulous. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for joining us on a busy Wednesday. We really appreciate you tuning into our webinar, and that's a wrap. We'll see you on our next webinar, whenever that is. And Stacey will have you on again soon.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody joining today.
All right, thanks guys. Take it easy.
Thanks so much.
All right, bye.